What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer here at the Steven Singer Studios. Great to have you along for the ride. Can you hear that? Those are definitely the crickets coming from Citizens Bank Park because Dave Dombrowski hasn't done anything before the trade deadline. Don't tell me about Sosa. I was telling you all about yesterday. Edmund Sosa is the setup trade. There's going to be another trade out there where they package Didi Gregorius and they get something they really need in return, whether that's a defensive center fielder, whether that's a center fielder, legit center fielder, like a guy like Michael Taylor, maybe. Maybe that's the move that's down line. Maybe another bullpen arm, like they just traded away Jojo Romero for a guy that they essentially already had in Yoel Camargo. Anyway, who else was out there? Oh, and then also maybe a starting pitcher like Noah Syndergaard, like Malley, like I don't know, maybe this kid out of Detroit that supposedly was on the trade deadline in school. Maybe that's the deal that they actually make. But as of right now, crickets. Maybe we wake up. Maybe wake up right now, Dave Dombrowski, and let's make a move to make this team better. I understand that Bryce Harper is coming back. I understand that Jean Segura is coming back. I understand that by September at the latest, this team is going to look a lot better on paper than it does right now, which is pretty damn good right now. As a matter of fact, you're a wild card team. You're one game up with the wild card team, but the team that you're competing with for that wild card position, you only have one game up on right now, just made a trade for a pretty nice starting pitcher and another arm as well in Jose Quintana going to the Cardinals from the Pirates. So that's a pretty nice deal. And when you look at some of these guys that have been traded so far, you haven't had a huge, amazing amount of prospects that you've had to fork over to try to get somewhat decent arms. Like there's no guy out there like back in the day, like a CC Sabathia that people are trading, like a Cliff Lee that people are trading. Oh, what are you going to give up? You're going to give up the future? No, you're not going to give up the future for any of these guys. Even if the Phillies, as we showed you yesterday, wanted to go up there and give you any of these prospects, for instance, that we went over yesterday, nobody is costing this. Nobody. What are you talking about? Painter, Abel, Ohapi, McGarry, maybe O'Gary. But apparently he's the guy that the Phillies just aren't trading with, as we told you yesterday from Jason Stark. So any of those names that you look at aren't getting dealt for the names that are being dealt around right now in Major League Baseball. I'm just hoping that by the 6 p.m. trade deadline today, the Phillies make a move that make them better right now. Not Jean Segura, not the cross your fingers for by September Bryce Harper, who got the pins out of his thumb yesterday, which is great. But a deal that makes them better. A guy that I know is on his way here now to either make your rotation better, to either make your bullpen better, or to be somewhat of a better option in center field. Like there were names put out there yesterday. I got them right here for you from John Heyman of the MLB Network. Ramon Laureano out of Oakland, 28-year-old center fielder. Nothing special. Michael Taylor is the most attractive name on here, 31 years of age, hitting 278 on the season. He'd be more than just a defensive center fielder. He'd actually be a guy that you could plug in the lineup and hit pretty decent for you. Adding a 278 hitter to this lineup is pretty damn good. And also, a guy who can play the center field position. Jackie Bradley Jr., his name was out there yesterday from John Heyman. Heyman highlighted the whole Boston connection from Dave Dombrowski. Thanks, but no thanks. And another guy was also traded already yesterday, and Jose Siri, who got dealt. Another name that was mentioned, apparently they were kicking the tires on. This is from Alex Coffey from Inquirer.com. Alex Coffey put out there yesterday, she said that Brett Phillips was a guy that the Phillies were kicking the tires on as a defensive center fielder. Another guy is batting like 175. So, yes, defensive center fielder. And I'm not devaluing the defensive center fielder role. I'm not at all. If it's the 8th inning, 9th inning, a close game, you want to have your defense out there, your best possible defense out there, yeah, you trot them out there. I get it. But here's the other thing. What are the other options? Do the Phillies have the luxury of saying, well, we just need a defensive center fielder and we're golden? Because as much as I wanted to see Mickey Moniak get reps at the major league level, they just weren't ready to do that, so they sent him down finally to get more reps at the minor league level. But Mickey Moniak, as of right now, doesn't look like the answer. Matt Vierling, as of right now, does not look like the answer. Odubel Herrera, no way, shape, or form is the answer. So what's your other option? Scott Kingery in center field again? Yeah, no thanks. Dave Dombrowski, please. By the time I do the show tomorrow, have a move done that makes this team better right now. Not a wait and see type of moment. You see the Cardinals got better already yesterday. Deadline isn't even here yet. You see other teams around Major League Baseball. God, the Yankees. Well, the Yankees were Yankees all day yesterday for moves that they were able to make. Bringing in Fakey Montez, for instance, who was another move. Scott Efros was another arm that they brought in from the Cubs. We just saw him in the Cubs series. These are good guys to have either in a rotation or your bullpen. And the Phillies need both. I look at the center field position right now for the Phillies, defensive center field specifically, defensive center field position. I look at that as being almost on par with just not seeing Jeurys Familia again. So in other words, if you were to bring in a guy like Siri, who did get moved yesterday, and you did that for your defensive center field purposes, I would liken that to keeping JoJo Romero in your bullpen just for the opportunity so you wouldn't see Jeurys Familia in an 8-1 ball game again. That would be the equivalent as far as I'm concerned. Make this team substantially better. Now, the problem here, if you're like me and you're holding out hope that the Phillies will actually make some kind of splash, whether that even be Noah Syndergaard, for instance, the problem here is the money, because the Phillies are already over the luxury tax, which is something that I never thought I would see. A couple of things that I didn't think I would see in my lifetime, a dominant face of ownership, like when it came to John Middleton, being the guy that's the managing partner of the Philadelphia Phillies ownership group, him and the Buck cousins running the show. I didn't think I'd see that. I now see it. Something else I never thought I'd see is the Phillies ever spending over the luxury tax, and they did that. They did that for Nick Castellanos. Now, as giddy as you might be that Nick Castellanos hit 282 in the month of July, and hopefully he carries it over and gets even better in the month of August, let's just hope that that's the case. But even if you're that excited about it, you're looking at Nick Castellanos going, not worth it. Not worth it. We might have said at the time he was worth spending over the luxury tax for. Hasn't really justified that so far this season. Are you going to be more cautious to spend? Or are you going to, I don't know, say to hell with it? We got to make up for that mistake and spend more money. That's why I don't think the Phillies really do anything unless Didi Gregorius is part of a package. He's not the centerpiece. No one is looking at the Phillies right now and going, how do we get Didi Gregorius from the Phillies? How can we do that? Get our top prospects out there. No, that's not happening. It's, and Didi? Okay. Like, that's what it is. It's the sweetener to the deal. That's all it is. And it could unload a couple of bucks from the Phillies as well, which they're looking to do. And if you're going to get anybody that's making a couple of bucks, like Noah Syndergaard, for instance, yeah, you're going to want to unload as much money as possible for now and the end of the trade deadline. Or, excuse me, between now and the trade deadline. That's where the Phillies are at right now. So anybody that's going to be costing top dollar, which really you don't have that many people available to begin with, and anybody that's out there right now that could be middle of the road money, probably still not going to be very attractive to the Phillies given their financial situation right now. That's what really is the, I don't know, party pooper in my head right now. That's the rain on my parade. The fact that the Phillies are already spending over the luxury tax, and anyone that's making a pretty penny probably is not getting the look of the Phillies. Hence why they kicked the tires on a guy that just got DFA'd by the Rays. Cool. And, of course, that's Brett Phillips I'm talking about right there. So that's where we're at with the Phillies. Coming along in just a moment, Matt Kerwin will be joining us from The Good Fight, as well as Philadelphia Philly Sports Nation, PHL Sports Nation, covering all things Phillies on their podcast and whatnot. Matt will join us and talk a couple of things. One, the Philadelphia Phillies. Two, the guy that he's after. And three, ancient Egypt archaeology. Matt's joined us a couple of times. Matt got his major in archaeology, which is awesome. Good for Matt. And like a lot of people, not really using it. At least he wasn't until recently, where he was out of the country in Egypt doing archaeological things, Brad Lidge is an archaeologist, like certified archaeologist. After his career, went to Colorado, finished his degree, and then he went over to Rome and like dug up parts of the Colosseum, and I think went up to northern Italy and dug up parts up there. Archaeology in baseball, I guess, just somehow goes. I guess baseball players just want to be Indiana Jones. I don't know, but Matt does a great job of breaking down all things Phillies trade deadline, and also archaeological discoveries in Egypt. We only touch on that just because I'm a nerd and I'm really interested in that kind of thing. But if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I'd probably be a basketball coach at some high school and teaching history or something like that, because I really love it. I'm watching the Coliseum, by the way, right now on History Channel, which is out of this world incredible. Oh, my goodness. Fantastic. Anyway, so Matt Kerwin will join us to talk all things Phillies trade deadline. Eagles trading camp. I saw that the conversation we had yesterday, which is a conversation a lot of people have had about training camp stats, is about how I don't care. Like it's literally like we're talking about practice. Like all I want to see in practice is guys like put forth effort, pay attention, try to execute what the coach is telling them to do. That's it. Now, when it comes to the execution part of it, you could say that the stats, well, they're showing whether or not they're executing it. No, they don't. The stats don't show you whether or not Jalen Hurts threw to the right guy. Like that's not it. I want to know that they're just executing the play. They're running the play. They're learning the play. That's what I want to. That's all I want to get out of training camp. I want to know if guys like Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, I want to know that they just belong. That's it. That's all I ask for when it comes to young players. When it comes to rookies, just look like you belong. Don't look like the moment's ever too big for you. Don't look like you're starstruck. Don't look like you're overwhelmed with information. Don't look like that. Talking to my old friend Trey Thomas all the time about after Andre Dillard got drafted. He said Andre Dillard just looked like a guy that there was just too much going on. There was just too much going on. Jordan Davis, from all early reports, looks like he belongs. Nakobe Dean is a guy that looks like he belongs. There are guys on this football team, young guys, looking to make an impression. Cam Jurgens, who might not even get playing time this year, if all goes right. There are guys on this football team that just look like they belong. The moment's not too big for them. We'll know, of course, when they actually step into a game. That's one thing I say you could take away from the preseason, is they look like they belong. I don't care about their stats in the preseason. I don't care about any of that. I just care about that they look like they belong. They're beating guys in their one-on-one battles. They're beating guys off the line of scrimmage. They're able to throw the ball downfield. Just those random physical attributes you want to see from somebody who you expect to be a contributor to your football team. That's all I want to see. So far in training camp, nothing seems to be too big for Jordan Davis. Nothing seems to be too big for Nakobe Dean. And that's what you want to see from these young players. That's it. First step. That's it. By all accounts, it looks good. Now, going back to the offense, going back to passing stats. Point blank, and I think this was Elliott Short-Parks, who, again, I'm a fan of. I just don't agree on any stats in preseason, but nonetheless. I am a fan of. The first question he asked Nick Sirianni during the press conference yesterday, Elliott Short-Parks, ESP, got his question in there, and Nick Sirianni answered it. The question was about the passing game. How did the passing offense look yesterday as compared to previous practices so far at training camp? And here's how Sirianni addressed it.
It looks pretty good right now. That we're going to the right place with the football. We have guys that are making contested catches. Would you want to eliminate a couple of the turnovers? Absolutely. There's a couple too many turnovers in there. That's where my biggest concern is. But spacing's been good. I've said it a couple times in the meeting room. This is exactly how this play is supposed to look. This is exactly how this play is supposed to look. And I think about that, how much further ahead we are than we were last year at this time.
That is what I want to hear. Wherever you were last year with your new install, your new coaching staff, your new starting quarterback, the rumors out there about Deshaun Watson, we'll get to him later. All that out there. You're further ahead than where you were. That's music to my ears. Now, you might say, well, what's a coach going to say? Is he going to say they're behind? Yes. That's exactly what he's going to. Like, that's not raining down on his players' parade. That's just being honest. And I think Nick Sirianni would be honest in that situation. We're not at where we need to be. We need to keep working hard to make sure we can get where we're supposed to be by now. I've heard coaches say that before. I don't think Nick Sirianni would just push that aside and just for the sake of being optimistic. I think he would say, yeah, it's not where we should be yet. But it's second day of camp or whatever, second week of camp, and we'll be good to go, in the near future. No, being ahead of where you're supposed to be, or being ahead of where you were last year, is a great thing, because that's exactly where you should be right now. So I don't have any problem with any of the things that are coming out about Jalen Hurts or inaccuracies that he might have during his camp sessions, whatever it might be. Because yesterday, what happened? Another report came out where, the offense looks a lot better. The passing offense looks a lot better. Jalen Hurts looks a lot better. Miles Sanders. I saw Brandon Lee Gouton of Bleeding Green Nation put the story out about Miles Sanders breaking open, running lanes and going for long run after long run after long run. And I'm like, okay, good, because no one's really doing anything. Like, nobody's hitting. Good. He should be doing that. Music to my ears again. But those were the reports that came out of training camp yesterday. Miles Sanders breaking off runs. Jalen Hurts looking a lot better. Nick Sirianni saying that they're further ahead of where they were last year. Good, great, grand. By the way, there's going to be football Thursday with the Hall of Fame game. That kind of snuck up on us, didn't it? Raiders, Jaguars, Josh McDaniels coaching against Doug Peterson of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Get excited, folks. Get excited. A couple other things that came out of camp yesterday I want to get to is you always want to know that your veteran guys are helping your younger guys. And Jason Kelce, as we know, helped essentially recruit and scout Cam Jurgens, his eventual supposed replacement at the center position. Turns out Jurgens might also be a guy to play a guard position as the season goes on, which is an abnormal for centers to go to guard and guards centers and all that stuff. Guards to centers. But Jason Kelce apparently is also helping the defensive line. Most notably, first-round pick Jordan Davis out of Georgia. I love hearing that stuff. Not just Jordan Davis hearing things from Fletcher Cox about how to win one-on-one battles, but for a Hall of Fame center like Jason Kelce will be, to give tips to an incoming rookie on how to beat centers when he's in the nose tackle position, more or less, in 3-4 defenses, I think is a special thing. So Jordan Davis was asked yesterday about how Jason Kelce has helped coach him up to this point about how to win battles one-on-one with offensive linemen. Here's Jordan Davis.
Man, I don't know if y'all caught it. We doing extra work outside and just learn tips like how to, he's not going to give me the whole game how to beat him, but, if I'm doing something right, walk through, put my hands there or just getting the front side of him. He's a fast guy, so being able to do that instead of playing backside and not getting cut out. So, it's just little things like that. And, I'm getting it from everybody, the coaches, players, everybody's learning.
That's what you want to see, that relationship build between those two players. The elder statesman, the young incoming guy. Well, hey, how can I get better? Jason Kelce, this is how you do it. This is how you use your hands. Simple as that. This is how you shift your weight. This is how you get that advantage over this guy. If he's coming up and he's a smaller center like me, whatever, this is how you beat him. Knowledge that is priceless for a guy like him. Priceless. Now, this is another thing that came out yesterday that I just found was interesting. I don't think there's been a high standard set with the Philadelphia Eagles and the linebacker position. But God bless Nakobe Dean, because he said all the right. Every time about a guy saying the right things, Nakobe Dean said a lot of the right things yesterday. Yes, defensively speaking, I think there's been a higher standard set in Philadelphia. Jim Johnson, Buddy Ryan, all that. Higher standard set in Philadelphia. The players that have come through here, like Brian Dawkins, Reggie White, for instance, yes, higher standard linebacker position, Jeremiah Trotter, Bill Berge, Seth Joyner. These are huge positions, huge names in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Chuck Bednarik. Let's go back even further. Great names, high standard, sure. But more recently, the linebacker position has not really gotten a lot of attention or praise, let's say, over the last 15 years, give or take. Alex Singleton, I was a fan of the guy's work ethic. TJ Edwards had a really good year last year. I give him a lot of credit for that. But we're not talking about necessarily Pro Bowlers here. Nakobe Dean, who's going to be most likely playing that middle linebacker position for the Philadelphia Eagles, spoke about a high standards that was set. High standards that are set here in Philadelphia. And I think he's speaking generally about the defense. But here's what Nakobe Dean had to say about it.
They push me just as much as they push everybody else. The expectation is high here. I feel like I love the organization and to the fact that they hold guys to a standard. Just kind of how we did in Georgia. We held everybody to a standard that you got to play at. So I feel like all of us just they kind of holding us to a standard, and we holding each other to a standard. I feel like it's just been great all around.
And that's essentially all you can really ask for as far as a young player goes. You want him to look around and say that at least in the work ethic way of thinking, these guys are being held to a high standard. So let's cross our fingers that that's exactly what Nakobe Dean is going to be taken out of this for the rest of his career and through the rookie season and into the rest of his career. So we can all feel warm and fuzzy about that linebacker spot for the Philadelphia Eagles for the foreseeable future. That's what I'll be crossing my fingers for. Coming up in just a second, Matt Kerwin will be joining us talking all things Phillies and everything that he's got going on in his other life, which is also keeping him busy. Right now, let me tell you about the great people at Steven Singer and Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to all your jewelry needs, you want to know that you're getting taken care of. You want to be treated like family. You want to be treated like family by somebody who's been in the love business in Philadelphia for over 40 years. And that's Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Right there, you'll get treated like family. And a real jewelry expert will walk you through all the amazing, dazzling diamond inventory at Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price. And that's what Steven Singer guarantees all his customers. Not just that you'll get treated so well, but also that you'll get the perfect price. So you don't have to worry about whether or not the person next to you is paying less than you, that they got some kind of better deal than you because they negotiated better than you. No, it's all about the diamond. The quality of the diamond, the beauty of the diamond speaks for itself. So when it comes to your big jewelry purchases, trust my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, because he's not marking things way up like other jewelers just to mark it down a couple of bucks, make you feel like you won some, sly negotiator, you know. No, you come in, you don't have to worry about it. You're taken care of from the start. And like I said, a real jewelry expert is standing by at the ready to walk you through all the beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every day online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's bring in Matt Kerwin from The Good Fight, as well as Philadelphia Sports Nation, to talk all things Phillies and the MLB trade deadline. It's rare that I do any type of pre-interview with the guest. Odds are I've read an article, I've heard a podcast, whatever. But in speaking with Matt Kerwin, who's now writing for The Good Fight and also doing a PHL Sports Station podcast as well. Matt, you are recently back in the United States from Egypt. Now, how the conversation went, I said, Matt, how was vacation? You're like, it wasn't really vacation. I was still working, but I was in Egypt. And I'm like, no. Everyone's going to Egypt to work. I don't care how remote we are in today's day and age. What the hell were you doing in Egypt there, Pharaoh?
Well, I was actually on another archaeological excavation in Egypt, so I was there helping out. Because that's my background.
Right. Oh, that's amazing.
For the sports.
Yes. No. So you studied archaeology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're Indiana Jones, basically. And you're out there in Egypt, you're digging around. You find anything interesting? You find any alien skulls that built those things? Or are we still, what's going on there?
No. So, this time I was in an ancient town site in the Nile River Valley called Abydos, Abydos for any viewers who want to look it up and read into it a little bit more.
Oh, I will. I'm watching the Coliseum documentary on History Channel or History. But after that, I'm all about Abydos. Abydos. Copy that. Abydos. Okay, cool. And what was there?
So I was in the southern part of Abydos in the sort of middle Egyptian town site. So me and one other archaeologist were excavating our units in a town site. So we uncovered some buildings which looked like a granary. So, sort of like bread and everything like that, grain that was going to be used. And we were pretty much excavating that area before I had to leave. So,
all right, folks. Now, of course, Matt does a great job covering the Phils and breaking down all things baseball. This is his background. Man's got to make a little side hustle here in archaeology.
Exactly.
but I just want to let people a little bit further behind the scenes here. I had texted you maybe 2 weeks ago to talk Phillies, and you're like, hey, I can't. I'm out of the country. It's a little spotty internet-wise. Yeah, I didn't get hey, I'm in ancient Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been like mind blown. That would be the greatest text message back. Like, sorry I bothered you. Let's talk when you get back. But no, that's great. Good for you. We've talked about this before off the air. I'm a history nerd. I love that stuff. I told you, me and name drop Brad Lidge have talked about this stuff before because he's excavated in ancient Rome. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I was like, hey, if you ever need someone to hold, I don't know, the flashlight or what do you call that thing? The trowel thing? The trowel. Yeah. That's it. He was like, I think I can handle it, but okay. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I fanboyed out on the archaeological side of Brad Lidge, not the perfect pitcher. Hey, speaking of pitching in baseball, segue. All right. Where are you on the Phillies' needs heading into the 6 p.m. trade deadline for Major League Baseball at the time we are this today, Tuesday? Are you center field? Are you bullpen? Are you starting pitcher? Where are you when it comes to the Phillies' biggest need?
When it comes to the Phillies' biggest need, obviously I'd like to have at least one more bullpen arm just to sort of solidify it. You know, obviously they just released Ryan Sheriff because of velocity reasons. But I think that, you know, Sam Coonrod is also making a comeback. He's going to be back sometime this month. So that'll be a really great asset to have in the bullpen, in addition to any new piece that, you know, Dave Dombrowski in the front office decides to add. I also think they need another starting pitcher because I don't think that Bailey Falter is reliable enough to keep, you know, to make a playoff run with these guys. And I don't think Zach Eflin is going to be healthy enough to consistently pitch the rest of the season because, you know, as we've seen, he's been on and off injury with that knee thing for a couple of years now. So I'm a bit worried about that. So I'm looking more into starting pitching, relief pitching, outfield. I don't know what they're going to do. They've been stockpiling so many infielders. They could put them in the outfield, or they could trade for someone, but it really depends on what I've been hearing, because I've been hearing they've been going more so the pitching route this trade deadline.
Mm-hmm. So one of the guys you talk about, those middle infielders that they're stockpiling, the odd man out, as far as I'm concerned, is still Didi Gregorius. Bryson Stott has come on as of late. Looks like he can play the glove position, play center field, play shortstop with a good glove. Didi's certainly been doing that over the last couple of games, but it seems like when Jean Segura comes back, Didi will be the odd man out. Do A, agree with that, and B, think that there's any trade value in Didi Gregorius?
I do agree with the fact that I think Didi will be the odd man out. He's just not performing offensively as well as he used to. I mean, this is a guy who used to be able to give you 15, 20 home runs and over 300 consistently for multiple years with the Yankees, and he would often start off the season the past few years with the Phillies, but injuries have just marred him his entire tenure now. So, and I think that before he even re-signed, there was a lot of value in him, and there's a few teams that have pitchers and relievers that the Phillies could grab that wanted DD before this offseason and are not in contention and might even take on that contract. So I think that there is a possible value there if he's packaged with someone else and they move him. So I think that's most likely what's going to happen, but it really depends on if you're looking about the Phillies here and now or for sort of into 2023. So it depends.
Let's react to the trade that's already happened. And that, of course, is bringing in Edmund Sosa from the St. Louis Cardinals. He's now a member of the Philadelphia Phillies. Jojo Romero is out. Your reaction to that trade was what?
I was fine with it. I actually didn't mind it at all because getting anything defensive upgrades sounded great to me for a team that, you know, his defense isn't really helping them and the offense isn't doing enough to outweigh the bad defensive play. You know, obviously we're, 7-8 games above 500 without Bryce Harper and Jean Segura and Zach Eflin. So it is impressive that they are holding their own, but I think that has to do a lot with the coaching, the players stepping up, and Rob Thompson's, bleep you mentality. So I think that has played a significant role in it. And, Garrett Stubbs said it on the Farzy show a few weeks ago. So,
look at you working in the plug. God bless you.
Hey, you got to keep up with the times. You got to keep up wherever the news is at. So.
Next time you're in Egypt, I just want you to take the show logo and act like you just dug it out of the ground. It's like, hey, Cleopatra, big fan, Big fan of the show. Anyway, sorry. Excuse me for being an ass. All right, so Didi, there you go. You had the whole thing. Second, third, fourth starter. What caliber of pitcher do you think the Phillies are seriously going to be in the hunt for, other than bullpen? If they're really going after a starter, can they get a third starter? Can they get a fourth starter? Like, where do you think they're going to fall in when it comes to the level of starter they'll be able to get?
Well, I think that they're looking for a third starter. They're looking for someone who's close to Nola and Wheeler, but not as good as them. But you know what I mean? Like someone who will
between them and Ranger Suarez.
Exactly. And I think that that's who they're looking at. I know there's been a lot of rumors about Noah Syndergaard with the Angels, and he wouldn't be a bad pickup, but he's not a third starter. He's a little bit below that. And I think that, from what I've heard from sources and other friends, in the industry, is that they're kind of backing away from Syndergaard for a little bit, and he's more of a last resort rather than a primary target just now. So I think that they are exploring options to see where they're going with that.
Primary target being who, possibly?
So that's the real question. And, I think that there's some other pitchers out there that are a little bit younger and better than Syndergaard. Someone who I'd like to see on this team, which I'm surprised they're even offering to trade, but they did put him on the block and he is being out there, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Lefty pitcher, so we would get a second lefty. He's been doing well, and I think that, Detroit just doesn't give him the exact run support. I don't know how much run support the Phillies will get him. We'll see. But,
yeah.
I think he's only 26 years old. He was supposed to be part of that, core Tigers rotation with like Casey Mize and him being 1 and 2. And they were great in the minors, and they both been doing well. Obviously, Mize has been afflicted. He's with injury. I think he's getting Tommy John. He's on 60-day IL, so he won't be back this season. Mm-hmm. So, but the fact that the Tigers are, didn't make any improvement from last year, I think is how they're, justifying the sale.
Mm-hmm. Understood. So now that he's been available, I've seen a couple other teams are in on him. And once I see that, I see bidding war. And I don't think the Phillies have a lot to bid with when it comes to a bidding war. So is there a chance then that they're going to get rid of one of those top 3 prospects, like a Logan O'Hoppe, for instance, that I saw as recent as yesterday, Jason Stark put out there saying that the Phillies apparently are not willing to part ways with them as prospects. Do you think there's a chance that O'Hoppe would get moved at the deadline?
I don't think there is, unless it's, something unbelievable. I think that, O'Hoppe, Painter, Abel, McGarry, and Brown are not going to go anywhere unless there's something really significant pitching-wise, or even center field-wise, if they decide to go that way, that's going to be available to them. It has to be, someone who's equivalent to more of a 2 or 3 starter on that end. And I think the Phillies are more looking for a solid 3, maybe 3-4 type guy to fill that role. If they can get it, there's a lot of people out there that are still available, Martin Perez of the Rangers, Pablo Lopez of the Marlins. I don't know how the Phillies or the Marlins are going to feel about trading within the division. I mean, we got JT from them, so it's possible that they're not going to be, too emotional about it. But I also think that, the Phillies have also been connected a little bit to, Tyler Mahle of the Cincinnati Reds, starter-wise. So I think he would be good. And, Carlos Rodon of the Giants, he's probably like the top guy left, and he's being shopped, and he's going to be available. So I think that would be insane. But, the NL West, like bottom NL West, as well as like the Diamondbacks, are giving up a lot. And like Merrill Kelly, he's probably going to be out there, and he's going to be available. But I feel like he's more of a 4, but he's having a stellar season. He's got like a 2.87 ERA right now with a 113 whip and over 100 strikeouts already. So it's possible. It really depends. But I think that Syndergaard's going to be more of a last resort, if anything, if things don't work out in the other deals, if they can try to make another deal. So
let me ask you this then, because there are 2 names that have been mentioned a bunch, and that's Mahle, and that's also Noah Syndergaard. which one would be the better upgrade for this rotation?
So Manley is pitching like he's got a 4.4 ERA right now with a 1.25 WHIP, 114 strikeouts as of today. Syndergaard is like a 3.8386 guy right now, so he definitely has a better ERA and WHIP wise. I think that he's also surprisingly been really durable this season, but I also think that has to do with him not being in Queens anymore, because I honestly think that Queens is a plague on pitchers. I mean, just look at the Mets season so far, with Scherzer and DeGrom both being out for such a large amount of times. It hasn't affected them too much, but who knows if, DeGrom comes back, pitches a game or two, and then, out for the rest of the season. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened because, the Mets are going to Mets. So...
Right. I'm in Syndergaard's camp. I'm in Thor's camp before I'm in Mally's camp, for instance. I just think that would be the better upgrade. But I think you're right. It's not necessarily the slam dunk. Oh, he's a number 3 starter. He's that 3-4 type of starter you would be bringing in. In terms of wanting to upgrade from Bailey Falter, I think you've done that if you acquire either of those two pitchers. I think that's the easy way to put that. Real quick, talking about Jean Segura, talking about Bryce Harper, got some good news on Monday about Bryce Harper getting the pins removed. He'll advance the rehab and all that fun stuff. Jean Segura is already in his rehab stint with Lehigh Valley. Realistic expectations for when we could see Jean Segura back on the Phillies diamond and Bryce Harper as well. When do you think those guys make their return?
Well, a lot of people are projecting Jean to come back August 2nd, which is, today.
Today, at the time we air this, yes.
And, I think that, right now in the minors, during his rehab stint with the last 5 games with the Iron Pigs, I think he's like 3 for 17, or like something like that. I mean, but he's had plenty of walks, a few strikeouts, but that's normal. I think he's just getting adjusted to having like the bat back in his hand and everything like that.
Show me you're healthy. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I think that if he's not back by today for the Atlanta series, then probably by the next week at the latest. I think he's going to be back within the next week. Harper, I'd love for him to be back in a couple of weeks, but I don't think that that's going to – I think it's going to be, it's going to be amusing. I think it'll be a September call-up. And I think that's what's going to happen most likely, is that he's going to be the Phillies September call-up, which is going to be hilarious, especially if he goes on like a torrid stretch.
Oh, sure.
In September, which is great. And, I think that if, Nick Castellanos, he's getting the slap hits, he's getting those hits out there. If he ends up becoming the quote unquote signing of the deadline, that's also great. And we didn't have to do anything for that.
Right. It's funny. You could definitely mention Castellanos if he gets on. Like, hey, look, he hit 282 in July, which is a lot better than he had all season. No home runs, first homerless month since September 15th or September of 2015. Cool. But when it comes to the built-in excuse that some general managers could have, like, oh, we got Jean Segura back around the trade deadline, so we're fine. I do like the idea of, well, look, our September call-up is Bryce Harper. That ain't bad. Like, that's even more of a couch hedge, whatever you want to call it. What has gotten into Alec Boehm? What has gotten into JT Real Muto? Tell me about Boehm first.
Well, Boehm, I honestly think that, he even said it the best the other day. It's like the coaches have just been making it fun for him and the rest of the guys. And he is showing how much he vibes with that. And I think that when it came to the transition of Girardi to Thompson and the rest of the coaching staff, I think Girardi is a great guy. I think he's a great manager. I think that, he's a different dynamic. He's a different type of guy. Not a bad manager, just wasn't the right fit at the time, at this point in time. And I think that Thompson, being a bench coach, you get to know the guys a little bit better and you get to know what's going on. And I think that he was able to take that into the interim job. I think he's, managing himself into the permanent answer for next season, which would be amazing. I think it'd be great if they just, give him the permanent, take away the interim at the end of the season. I think that would be the best choice. I don't think they need to go searching after, especially if the Phillies make the playoffs. But when it comes to Bohm, I just think that, him really focusing on himself and his craft, getting back to where he was in his rookie year, where he was hitting like 330, he's already hitting 300 again. And I honestly don't think it's going to stop there. I do think he's going to keep going when it comes to his batting average. And, if he hits like 310, 315 by the end of the season, but he's only got 10 to 15 home runs, I'm not going to complain.
Right. I'm with you. Yeah,
that's amazing. And now that he's been moved to the top of the lineup, it's even more effective because he's going to get on base, hopefully, for Nick Castellanos to, knock him in.
No.
Or JT at this point.
JT. Yeah, and JT, another guy that had a fabulous July. What are you making of him?
I'm honestly shocked. Like I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm very happy because I know how how great of a guy he is. But I honestly thought he was going to pull a Matisse Thybulle with not going to Canada. I thought that not going to Canada was going to make him worse. But it honestly, it gave him that and the All-Star weekend and everything just gave him the reset. And honestly, I think that he's going to play himself back into his moniker of best catcher in baseball. I think that he still has it in him. I think it's deserving, and it'd be great to see by the end of the year.
Last one for you, or two more for you here. When it comes to the Phillies, and I'm sure we'll talk before the end of the season, unless you're in like China or something, excavating a great wall. Okay, cool. All right, just making sure. All right, Phillies making the playoffs?
Yes, 100%.
All I need. Oh, look at that. Okay, slam dunk.
Yeah,
all right,
I have no doubts in my mind.
Last thing for you. If you could excavate any area in the world, any historical site, anything, where would you go? If I could snap my fingers and grant that wish for you, where would you want to go?
Well, I love Egypt already. So, and I've obviously dug there a couple of times now. But if I could...
That is the most humble brag I've ever heard. I've already dug up Egypt once or twice. But anyway. Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
I probably want to go back to Egypt just because there's so much that's undiscovered there. And if you talk to any Egyptologist, any archaeologist, only about 10 to 15% of Egyptian history has even been excavated.
It's so funny you say that because I've recently become a TikTok guy. Like the show's been on TikTok for a while, but like I recently started going on TikTok and somehow I'm just going to go on TikTok for 5 minutes. Turns into like 4 hours. Like what the hell am I doing with my life? But in one of the things that I saw on my scroll.
Welcome to Gen Z.
Yeah, right. Totally. When one of the things that came up on my scroll was that Cleopatra lived closer in time to the invention of the iPhone than she did the construction of the pyramids of Giza. Like closer in time, she lived closer to the iPhone than she did the pyramids of Giza. And here it is, folks. He's pondering it. Maybe I have the wrong pyramid down. Whatever was the oldest pyramid, whatever was the old pyramid.
Yeah, the first pyramid was at Saqqara. Or Saqqara, however you want to pronounce it.
Well, I like to say Saqqara as well, but whatever.
And that was, around late 3000s BC. So yeah, honestly, that could check out.
Yeah,
but only by a few years. Only by a few years that could check out.
You're right. You're right now. Yeah, no, you're right. Because she was running around with that Marc Anthony and that Julius Caesar fella. You know what I'm saying? And that was like...
girls just want to have fun.
That they do. On that note, Matt Kerwin, always great catching up with you. Thanks for talking all things Phillies baseball. Make sure you catch him, all his publications there on The Good Fight, as well as catching him with PHL Sports Nation, doing the podcast there as well. Matt, great catching up with you. And hey, maybe write a story in hieroglyphics one time. Just what the hell? Why not?
Well, that'd be pretty difficult.
I'm sure it would. Matt Kerwin joining us. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be here.
I am jealous. I'm jealous. Color me jealous. I did ask that Brad Lidge guy about excavating in Italy in the Colosseum, and then he did amphitheaters in northern Italy. He went up through Siena and stuff, and that's not northern Italy, but went up through Siena to northern Italy. And I asked him, I was like, hey, man, if you ever need any more help over there, like a little bit more help in the Coliseum, let me know. And he goes, I'm pretty sure the Coliseum's almost done, so you don't really need to worry about that. I was like, yeah, there's probably a lot of people volunteering for the Coliseum. So, but anyway, I think that's fascinating. I am a nerd, absolute nerd when it comes to historical facts like that. And Matt Kerwin is just living my dream. Here's something for the TikTok people. What does it feel like to live my dream? That's a big TikTok thing. Anyway, I'm old. So anyway, my thanks to Matt Kerwin for joining us right there. I told you his guy was Tariq Skubal, of the Detroit Tigers. He's a younger guy. He's 25. He is a left-handed pitcher. He's got a 3.71 ERA this season. I'm going to go ahead and think, because he's not really making bank, being that he's only 3 years in the league. He's not making a lot of money. Or 2 years in the league. He's not making money. So that's going to cost prospects. I don't see how the Phillies make that move without giving up one of these young fellas, whether that be Andrew Painter, Mick Abel, Logan O'Hoppe, Griff McGarry. I think they would have to get uncomfortable, being that he's a 25-year-old left-handed pitcher that's got plenty of time left in the majors, and he's having himself a good year. If I have to say, if the Phillies are making one move, the most likely move, I think, would be Malley, excuse me. I think that's the guy they'd be bringing in because it's not going to cost you a lot. He doesn't make a lot of money. He's an older pitcher for what's available, what's out there. He's only making $5 million. I think all the things make sense. And that is, to me, in this rotation with Wheeler, with Nola, that maybe is a third starter, but he is mostly a fourth starter. Yes, he's a starter. Is he better than Bailey Falter? Yes, he's better than Bailey Falter. Is he better than what you get a lot of times from Kyle Gibson? Yes, he certainly is. So that would be an upgrade. But if I'm crossing my fingers and really hoping that the Phillies make a deal today, I'm hoping the deal they make is for Michael A. Taylor from the Kansas City Royals. A better defensive center fielder than we have right now. Certainly better at the plate. He's a 270 to 280 hitter. Not a lot of pop left in that bat, but better than what you got. If you want to talk about the best upgrade the Phillies could make, that is, I think, within the realm of possibility, it would be Michael A. Taylor. That's more of the direction the Phillies go. We know him from the Washington Nationals, of course, now with the Kansas City Royals. That's more the direction I think the Phillies would be going. And he's not making a lot of money either. He's making around the $5 million mark as well. And you would have control of him for 2 years. So I don't think you'd have to get uncomfortable to the point of one of your top 5 prospects, but I think you'd have to get a little bit uncomfortable with what you got. And I think Didi Gregorius will not be the centerpiece of the deal, but I do think he would be a part of the deal. My thanks to Matt Kerwin joining us right there. And let me tell you about Manscaped, ladies and gentlemen. You want to look good everywhere, right, fellas? And I do mean everywhere. Well, that's where Manscaped enters the chat, especially with their Platinum Package 4.0. That includes a lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, weed whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and it all comes with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Plus, ultra-premium body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant. You haven't lived until you've tried. Crop Reviver ball spray toner as well. Anti-chafing boxers. And the Shed travel bag to help hold all the goods that you'll be using to take care of your goods from Manscaped. Manscaped is the leader, undisputed leader in below-the-waist grooming. Now you can trust them with the whole shebang. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com. And you can get 20% off and free shipping with promo code Farzy. You see it in the scroll below. 20% off and free shipping with promo code Farzy at manscaped.com. How about the amazing people at Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You like CBD, you use CBD, you want 20% off your CBD? Well, how about a checkout? You use promo code Farzy for 20% off at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. I know you probably tried a lot of other brands, but honestly, or maybe you're looking to try a brand, looking to try CBD, see what it does for you. Look no further than Freestone Farm CBD. What's even more exciting is their incredible strain menu that includes the tropical, insane-tasting Bayox that clocks into the chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. The genetics of these guys are off the charts. And they grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all the plant compounds in a perfect 3-month cure. Oof, like a nice soprasata. Just one look or smell is enough to let you know it's CBD done right. And this product is great for anyone looking to put a more natural approach or take a more natural approach to everything that they put in their body. And like I said, 20% off at checkout when you use promo code Farzy at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about Blue Chew, fellas? Well, now you heard of Blue Chew, huh? Blue Chew is incredible. It's an online prescription service, so there's no embarrassing trips to the doctor or pharmacy, as Blue Chew ships right to your house in a discreet package. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form at a fraction of the cost. Here's the Blue Chew process. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive a prescription within days, and it's all done online. Also, Blue Chew is a licensed medical provider that will work with you to find the ingredient for you and the strength of your prescription that best suits you in the healthiest way. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew tablets are chewable, so it's not just a clever name. Blue Chew's tablets are made right here in the good old US of A, and they prepare and ship directly to your house. And like I said, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Once again, here's a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code Farzy, and viewers as well. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code Farzy at checkout and pay just $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Farzy, to receive your first month free at BlueChew.com, promo code Farzy. Just pay $5 shipping. And my thanks to PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's jump on into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen, see how everybody is doing today. Tyvita, good morning. Sean, good morning. Everybody in the chat, what's going on? Let's get all these live chat Johns going here. Let me dismiss that, and then we do up here, and we're up there. There we are. Kevin, good morning. Tyvita, hello again, Tyvita. I hope they find a way to trade Familia, but I doubt, because no one is stupid enough to want him. Tyvita, you are correct. Like, people were saying to me yesterday, well, who wants Didi Gregorius? Well, here's your answer. No one. But that's not the centerpiece of the deal. Look, I liken this to every other sport with a salary cap. The Phillies right now are over the salary cap, which is the luxury tax, in their minds, I think. So I think when they go over that luxury tax, they're a little uncomfortable, is what I'm telling you. I think it's all going to come down to money. Didi Gregorius making $15 million, whatever it is, prorated the rest of the season for 2 more months. That's fine. If they're going to move that money, they're going to bring in somebody that's probably less than that, and they're going to try to match money in any way, shape, or form. Noah Syndergaard making $21 million this year is probably making the Phillies a little skittish. I like the fact that they at least sent a scout out to watch him. That shows them that they might be at least willing to pay. But the scout saw a great start from Noah Syndergaard, a guy that would certainly be better than a Ranger Suarez or a Kyle Gibson or a Bailey Falter. He's a guy that would absolutely be that number 3 starter behind you. So they at least kick the tires shows you, all right, well, maybe we'll at least look at a guy that's $21 million. But on the other scale of it, on the other side of it, you're also looking at the possibility of bringing a guy that just got DFA'd for center field help in Brett Phillips. Is that really the direction you want to go? So you're either going rock bottom or $21 million. Not great, but at least they're doing their due diligence. While every other club is already making moves to bolster their team, like the Cardinals, for instance, and Quintana and all that, maybe also try to get better. Maybe not just rely on Jean Segura. Maybe not just rely on Bryce Harper. As great as it sounds, if you're telling me that those are the trades they make for the acquisition, we already know you're getting those guys back. And even with those guys back, that doesn't make your center field better. Even getting those guys back, that doesn't make your 3rd or 4th starter better. Overall, is your team better? Sure. But even in that vein, you still have areas with huge gaping holes. I think the perfect match for this team is making a trade to bring in Michael Taylor, as I said earlier. That helps you in center field and helps you in the plate as well, at the plate as well. So that's where I go. Tyvita, yeah, I don't think Familia is sticking around. I think if they do add a bullpen arm, I think he's the first to go. Hope to find a way. Getting very strong Chuck Fletcher vibes from Dave Dombrowski, Bill Hebert. That is a scary, horrific thought. But this is interesting. Getting strong Chuck Fletcher vibes from Dombrowski when we want more Howie Roseman from this offseason. We are in a world where we want more Howie Roseman. We're in the upside down. Darian, what's up, buddy? How you doing? April, what's going on? Mally, what's popping? How is it the Yankees acquire all-star outfielder, strong starting pitching, and young, controllable the relief pitcher with a deceptive sidearm delivery and not give up the farm? That's what I'm talking about, Bill. When I talk about not giving up your top prospects, like the names I've showed you before with Painter and all that, no one's giving up their top guys, and they're getting talent in return. The market is awesome for buyers right now. That's what is so, like, that on top of everything else is what's disappointing about the fact that they haven't made a move. The one move they have made was Sosa, which was just a dumb move. I don't care. Like, Sosa's a good backup shortstop middle infielder. Fine. You had that, I think, in Yohan Camargo. And a guy that can hit with a little bit of pop as well. I don't think you need and I'd rather have Jojo Romero in the bullpen, I'd rather see him than Jerry's Familia, for instance. It was a stupid move. And the fact that you gave him up is dumb. You made a nothing move. I would only hope that it's the setup trade, like I said yesterday, where you're moving Didi Gregorius and you still keep that depth. Even in that case, it's still stupid because you would still have Yohan Camargo for nothing. Anyway. But yeah, that's exactly it, Bill. It's a buyer's market right now. Tavita, hello again. Ray, what's up, Ray? Good to see you. If Dombrowski does nothing but small moves, he should be wearing a mask like Jesse James stealing money. Now, speaking of older references, Ray, I like that one. Unless we get good pitchers, we aren't getting any better. Yes, good pitchers would help, but I would still take a center fielder. I said a couple of weeks ago, I feel like when we talk about linebackers with the Eagles, goaltenders with the Flyers, like this is a good shooting guard, whatever it might be. Like Darius Maxey hopefully cures that in basketball. But it feels like whenever we talk about the Phillies in center field, it's like we talk about the linebacker for the Eagles. And hopefully that changes as well this year with the Kobe Dean. Mally, blue shirt, rose gold spray tan, open neckline. Marc is in his diva mode today. Damn right. Wait till if you watch the Phillies not make a trade by the 6 p.m. deadline, see how much of a diva I am tomorrow, pal. Mally, you're the man. And now, April, we've talked about this. I don't wear the Italian. Mally, you're referencing it, the Italian horn. I don't wear the Italian horn. I don't. This is just me speaking for me and what I'm comfortable with and my ethnicity. My mother is mostly Eastern European. Actually, Polish was the celebrated culture in that household. So with my mom's family and my dad's family, and growing up in a Polish-Italian house, I just feel like I can't wear the gold horn. I feel like I can't. I feel like I can't do that. I feel like my nose is enough Italian where I shouldn't add to it with more Italian things. That's just how I feel about it. But if the Italians win the Euro like they did last year, then I'll go crazy. And they didn't make the World Cup again. But anyway, that's just where I stand on it. But to all the other half paisans out there like myself, if that's you, you do you, babe. You do you. You do you. I also, Sean Gillespie, I am also a history nerd, especially World War II. Only class I enjoyed, earning an easy A. Way to go, Sean. When I was in France, what was that, a month ago or so? I mean, we couldn't make it to Normandy, but next time, oh my goodness, absolutely. I got to go there, pay my respects. April, who's down in the Carolinas, the hillbillies down here said, "Oh, that's a Rocky necklace, sir." Respectfully, April, I hope I acted out your comment well enough. The Rocky necklace. Yeah. Do you know there's there's a lot of different types of pasta than spaghetti? Other types of pasta than spaghetti? Is it pretentious to refer to, like when I was down the shore last week, and when people invite me places, I like to cook dinner. You guys know I like to cook. I love to cook. And like I made my family's meatballs, and then I made bucatini. Like I won't correct someone if they say, "Oh, spaghetti and meatball." Like I won't do that. I just feel like that's way too pretentious. But is it pretentious to just say bucatini and meatball? Oh, I got bucatini over here and meatballs, because bucatini is a thicker spaghetti. And I think that's a very delicious dish. capellini, spaghetti, bucatini, peachy, the whole thing. Anyway, peachy pasta is a very thick noodle. It's very common in the Tuscan region. All right, anyway. Speaking of pretentious, all right. Tavita, I used to watch the History Channel a lot, but it's very repetitive. There's only so much you can learn about Cleopatra. Tavita, I highly suggest this. You got to watch the new series. It's Sunday nights. I DVR it. It's called Coliseum. And, oh, man, it's all about the Coliseum. I only watched the one episode. I'm like halfway through the second one. But it's a whole history. It's amazing. And some of my heavy hitters like Dr. Arya. Oh man, Dr. Arya. I've watched him through a number of History Channel documentaries. I follow him on Twitter. I've tweeted with him. He's been very kind. I'll tweet him again, tell him how awesome he is and how great this show is. But yeah, the Cleopatra, not Cleopatra, Coliseum, you'll enjoy. Phillies better make a move. Dan Schwartz, what's up, Dan Schwartz? Phillies better make a move. I concur. Phillies, for some reason, waiting for the last possible minute. I don't get it. Phillies stress me out. That was from Sean. April, Phillies stress me out at the deadline. They spend so much time waiting to see what other people do. Sean Gillespie. Farzy on TikTok learning dance moves. Yeah, that's right. Yes, Blue City Empire Sports. I did mention the Yankees getting Montez. That's pretty damn good. And they also got Efros. That's pretty damn good, too. Two guys that could certainly help the Phillies, but they didn't get them. And here I am with nothing. Edmund Sosa is what I'm here with. Carl, good to see you. Cards fan here. How's that Jojo Romero? Does he have a future, and is he a guy that end up, or a guy that end up down on farm? He might. I haven't really looked much at your bullpen. But yeah, he throws with gas, some control issues, a lot of intensity. He's a good piece. Put it this way. This is not a huge compliment. I'd rather have him on my team than Jarius Familia, in case you didn't hear me say that earlier. But yeah, I think he's got a good upside to him. Tavita, Cleopatra was a garden tool. Tavita, that might be my favorite comment ever. Mally is enjoying that. Tavita, she was insatious. Oh, incestuous. Sorry. That's live reading, folks. Live reading. Yeah, Carl, nothing special. That's what PJ says, and I agree. Oh man, Philly sports fan, good. Oh, April. That's awesome. So April says her friend's kid was sick, and they gave her some pastina. April gave her some pastina, and she was blown away. I told her it's Italian penicillin. Very true. It's Italian baby food, and it's Italian penicillin. It's like the chicken soup of the Italians. You might even put some escarole in there, right? Scarole. But yeah, Monalut's my daughter, Emmanuel, Little Toots. She's had pastina and she crushed it. She's gonna be 3 next week, guys. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome as per usual. Much appreciated. Let's jump into the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Real quick, let me get this out about Deshaun Watson. I know a lot of people are freaking out about the 6 games. They're comparing it to Calvin Ridley. That's a big thing. Let me just say this. I'm going to wait to see what the NFL does. I'm not a wait and see guy. Here's what I'll address. 6-game suspension. No, not enough. Absolutely not enough. A judge is willing to go out of her way and say that he didn't do enough to warrant a 6-game suspension, anything more than a 6-game suspension, excuse me. But they are willing, but she is willing to impose more of a punishment, which involves him having to essentially go through massagers through the team only. So essentially, he can't recruit his own massage therapists anymore. He's got to go through the team to do that. Every massage therapist that he might want to recruit or whatever has to go through the team. Stamp of approval from the team in some way, shape, or form. So you are adding more, but you're not adding more games. The NFL, I know a lot of people are coming down on the NFL. I'm not mad at the NFL yet. The NFL has solicited a suggestion from an arbiter, as did the NFLPA. That arbiter came back with 6 games. The NFL came with a full season. The arbiter said, no, can't go full season, got to go 6 games. I think it's going to be more than that. I think the NFL realizes the fallout it's already received, even though they haven't even made the decision yet. They have 2 more days, I think, after yesterday, 2 more days to actually make a decision on what's going to happen to Deshaun Watson. He's got to get more than 6 games. If the NFL, I think the way it's going to come down, I think he's going to get 8 games. I think the NFL is going to push for like 12 games, and I think the NFLPA is going to come back with like maybe 10, maybe 8. I think he gets 8 to 10 games. I don't think he gets anything ridiculously. I don't think he gets a full season like some people are calling for. So that's the way I think it plays out, because we're still in the negotiating process of this. The NFL needs to step up and say he needs more games. The NFL does that. I think that's a win for them. On the other side of things, the Calvin Ridley comparison, there's no comparison. They're 2 totally different cases. Yes, they're both punishments. Calvin Ridley, in the eyes of the NFL, is doing something that may affect the integrity of the outcome of a game, which is the biggest threat to the NFL. The NFL has learned by now that you can watch a lot of bad dudes on Sundays play football because they're on your fantasy team, or because even you've bet on them in some way, shape, or form. The NFL realizes you'll watch bad people play football. The NFL knows that you won't watch a game that you think is compromised by a player dabbling in gambling. Do I think gambling's wrong? Absolutely not. We have betting sponsors on the show. I bet, I gamble, fine. I go to casinos, that's fine. I don't have a problem with gambling. The NFL is worried that they might have their game compromised because of betting. The NFL knows you'll watch bad people play football. That one's on us, unfortunately. So I am not coming down to the NFL yet. The NFL solicited an arbiter because they had to. It's part of the CBA. Now it's up to the NFL to appeal that for more games. You hear of players all the time appealing for less games. The NFL now has to appeal for more games. That will be a win for the NFL if they do, in fact, win that. But they do need to push back on this ruling. They can't just go, well, we get 6 games, so what are we going to do? And that's the way I think, and I hope it plays out. Phillies back in action tonight in Atlanta, starting a 2-game series with the Braves. It'll be a bullpen game. So we'll see how that one shakes out for the Phillies. 7:20 start time in Atlanta. And hopefully, of course, the Phillies make a move. Michael H. Taylor would be the guy I'd be going after. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Much appreciated to all you fine people. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning, hopefully after what will be a deadline acquisition by the Philadelphia Phillies. Thanks, everybody. Jim Hyde, produced the program, did a wonderful job. This is a Blood Sports Entertainment production from the Steven Singer Studios, the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer. Hey, bonus me today for you local people, Fox 29. I'll be on there talking to Phillies trade deadline and all things Eagles, of course. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.